He co-leads the band Soul Housing Project alongside summer-winning jazz pianist Bokani Dyer of Dyertribe music and holds a Bachelor of Music degree in jazz studies after graduating from the South African College of Music at the University of Cape Town in 2008. That's Eastern Cape-born vocalist, composer, poet and musician Sakhile Moleshe, who has just released his debut solo album, The Final Call. He's a former lead singer of Electronic Duo Goldfish, and he joins us now to tell us all about his brand new project. Sakhile, it's so great to have you in studio. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me, Phil. Good morning.
Take us through the decision to leave Goldfish. I understand that you had been with them for quite a number of years. What led to you ultimately walking away and focusing your energies on your solo projects?
Yes, Goldfish found me when I was still a student at university, and they took me around the world, literally all of the places, you know, that the likes of Black Coffee and them play overseas are the places that I played with them overseas. So I had the most amazing career after finishing university, and following that I decided to go on my own journey and find my sound, which is slightly different. I'm more of a down-tempo R&B soul vocal.
Oh, yeah. So beautiful.
Yes, yeah, no, for sure. Versatility is also my thing. So I love dance music. It always lives within me. But I decided to give the R&B sound a bit of a try and to expose a bit more of what I'm about. I love a cappella vocals. We've got a rich tradition of vocal South African music, so I wanted to explore more of that.
And what would you call this sort of era or place in your life that you're in, especially just in relation to your music? How do you define it?
What I call it honest music, because my album is more of a diary. It's like when you're listening to my album, I want you to feel like you're paging through my diary with or without permission. So it's like that thrill of hearing the many voices I have in my head, and singing is one of the things where, you know, there's so many voices that live inside of you. And I guess this album was a conversation. So it's all about conversation. And specifically for this album, I kind of feel like it was for me. You know, I wanted to do it for me and to explore my sound and define myself. And now, of course, I can come back and do all kinds of things. But it's been such a beautiful journey.
The title to the album, The Final Cut. I mean, it's
The Final Call, yeah.
The Final Call. It reads so dramatic.
Yes, no, I mean...
What inspired it?
What inspired it is I've had so much support from so many people in my career throughout the years, and it's kind of just that moment where I have to stand on my own, and I call it the final call. It's like those trumpets around the city of Jericho, you know, that brought those walls down. It's kind of that last call to live your dreams and fulfill your destiny.
And I love the fact that you say that you did this project for yourself, because I find that often musicians just, I mean, following all the success of Goldfish, you'd find that someone else would, you know, put themselves under that kind of pressure to outperform. And when you do music for yourself, I think it's easy for other people to feed off of that. Who did you work with?
On this album, I had a beautiful sound. I mean, I was looking for instruments that sound like voices. So I worked with Candice Martin, who plays violin, and I worked with Luanda Gogwana, who plays trumpet. But mostly I produced it myself. There's a lot of a cappella vocals. I programmed, play some keyboards, and of course I had a great support from a man called Gavin Eckhart, who's one of the top engineers in the country, and he kind of allowed me to shape my sound. So it was a beautiful journey. He's from Soulfire Studios, so big up to everyone who's on the album. And
I mean, what are some of the highlights and lessons or challenges that came with putting together this project?
I think, you know, time, like the extension of time, like when you create something, it might not be the perfect incarnation. You have to kind of, you know, play it through and sing it through and make sure, you know, that you warm up into it and truly embody that sound. So I think that was the best process for me. It was just to trust the fact that I needed to live with this music. I needed to live with these ideas so that they become my universe, and then kind of put them on wax, which is something that hopefully will last forever.
And just a broader question on the South African music scene as a whole. I mean, geez, there's always an introduction of new genres, or, you know, genres, you know, being formed out of subcultures, and it's just a very interesting landscape in its entirety. Well, what are your thoughts on just the SA music scene?
I think we live on the best musical tapestry, like in the world. Like we've got so much to draw from. If you look at our traditional music styles of music, istatamia to dance music to house music, look at every artist in every genre and the success they're enjoying locally and internationally. It's like the world is almost not big enough. You know?
Yes.
So there's so much talent, there's so much music that's happening in South Africa. I think one thing that we could develop more is audience development. You know, what can people expect? You might come to a concert and you need to know the difference between a gqom concert and a classical, you know, and the etiquette that goes with that. And once we develop that, once the audiences support us, because if you look at all the greats on the continent, Miriam Makeba, Papa Wemba, they were lifted by the audiences that listened to them, you know, and they took them worldwide. So I think that's one thing that our musicians are ready. We're ready to play. The people must go out there and find music and take more ownership of the discovery process.
And just to wrap it up, Sakhile, where is your album available?
My album is available everywhere. We're on Deezer, we're on iTunes, we're on every single digital music platform. It's called The Final Call. Just look for me, Sakhile Moleshe, or on my website, www.sakhilemoleshe.com.
All right, Sakhile, thank you so much for coming. I look forward to see you performing a little later on.
Thank you so much.
That's Eastern Cape-born vocalist, composer, poet and musician Sakhile Moleshe speaking to us about his debut solo album, The Final Call. The 15-track album boasts a variety of sounds which all encapsulate the true essence of Sakhile's musicianship. It's time for a quick break. To stay with us.